putting salt around your house. There was also, for a long period of time with the Rothschilds, you probably heard the famous, periodic, what is it? Not the periodic chart, the famous food pyramid, talking about how salt is actually meant to be bad for us. Nope, salt is actually really good for us, and it's cleansing. So cleansing is important. Also, strengthening your mind so that people's influence doesn't affect me. So you're absorbing it. You're absorbing it and transmuting it and releasing it. You're not holding on to bitterness. You're not holding on to anger. You're not holding on to these dark emotions. You feel them, you process them, and then you release them. Or you do something productive that can express them out into the world. So you push it through yourself out into the world. Okay? So these are all simple things. We've all done things like, saging, white saging, Palo Santo, all of these. There are so many different tools that you can use. And yes, for a period of time, they might work. But when we look at things like curses, this is a bit more on the heavier side. All right. So if someone comes to me and quite often they've had someone reach out on the internet, there's a lot of scammers now that will approach a perfect stranger on their Facebook. You might have been on a Facebook group and someone's spotted you there and they've sent you a private message saying, I can see this dark curse on you. I can see this black figure standing around you in your photo. You should contact me. I can help remove the curse. This stuff is all very much common now at this point. Very, very common, And we know my response and your response should always be, fuck off. You're full of shit. Okay? You're a dickhead. Fuck off. That's the first response that we should be having to anyone getting sucked into that level of low-hanging fruit nonsense. Okay? So, too often we get people coming through that have had this whole fear-mongering thing, or someone they've paid a root worker or a witch, a shamaness or a shaman, whoever, a brujo, whatever, to perform some level of magical ritual on you, which they've probably done nothing. And then they'll be sending you another email or a text message or reaching out via social media and saying, you need to pay me all this money or I will lift this thing off so the curse comes back onto you and then you'll be under the curse again. That is blackmail. And spiritual blackmail is alive and well. People have been fleeced of thousands of dollars for this shit. All right? That's why when a client comes to me and I look at this stuff, there's so many things that I'd have to assess to understand, like, where is this coming from? What are the symptoms? Is this generational? Is it a generational curses are real? Has this been something that's been passed through the bloodline of your family? Is it related on your mother's side, your father's side? Yes, this stuff is real. Is it related to a deal that may have been done with a demon from your ancestor? Could it be that your father crossed a witch and you got cursed in the crossfire? Could it be that a demon has been summoned to haunt your house, to haunt your family? Could it be a spirit? Could it be, there's so many ways that this can happen. Every culture has its own spiritual system. If you're in the Philippines, they are very commonly known for doing little bottle spells. So quite often you have to get up on the roof. People get up on their roof, get up a ladder on top of the roof to see if there's any bottles that have been thrown up there. And inside those bottles, you'll probably find a little figurine These can be like little, kind of very similar to like a voodoo doll or a Salvatore. And you'll see these little things that have been made and they're binded with like twine. Quite often there could be like black cat hair or black dog hair. You know, you can use the frequencies of nature and animals in different types of spiritual systems. You know, so sacrifice is a real common thing, but I'm not going to go too hard onto that topic. But yes, every culture has its own unique thing, but it's kind of doing the same thing just in a different way. So whether it's voodoo or voodoo, making like a little figurine out of Play-Doh, out of plasticine. I did have a couple of videos here where I showed you how to do it on my channel. Those videos, by the way, were removed by YouTube for violation codes or some shit. So I might be uploading them here on my Patreon when I put this video across, but maybe not. Let me know if you want to know. But yes, I can show you how to do this type of stuff. And yeah, I mean, there's so much let's get some structure to this video. All right, so what I would say is I've got some notes here, so let's just kind of get into that. When someone comes to me and says that they believe that they are cursed, I need to, this is a spiritual consultation, all right? So that's not going to be just an upload for a phone, a phone recording. It has to be, I have to assess this. I have to look at your photo and I have to really channel you, all right? So I can do this. Yes, I can do this. And it does take a lot out of me to do this type of work. That's why I don't do it all too often. But through looking at your situation and what's going on in your life and a series of events that have taken place that you seemingly have no control over, and these situations that are all kind of happening around you, after listening and assessing it, a lot of the time, I would say you're not cursed. 9 times out of 10, to be really frankly honest, it's common, but it's not as common as you would think. And the reason for that is because why you're not cursed is because you have a weak spiritual system within yourself and you are susceptible to outside influences. And a lot of people these days really like to blame things outside of their control or things that are even within their control as the problem. So it's like a lot of people, honestly, it's like they kind of curse themselves in a way. They have a very negative outlook on life, and life is hard. I do make videos talking about how fucked this world is all the time. But they are not making things easier for themselves. They're lazy. They are full of excuses. They're not mastering their own physical health. The most important thing for a human is their health. So if you're knocking back a bottle of wine a night and you can't manage your health, you can't really be trusted to do much more than anything because health is number one. So I always look at that with a person, okay? And so a lot of these problems that people have created with their children or with in-laws and with family members, it's all self-inflicted. A lot of it really is self-inflicted. And it's like, if you have a mindset that is what I call a victim pity party mindset, you will be more susceptible to a series of events like Lemony Snicket's, a series of unfortunate events that will, make things worse. If you're open and you're coming at life from a place of truth and love and responsibility, and you're vibrating at a higher level of frequency, one, you're going to have better success in life, obviously. But two, you're going to be in a place that's going to be harder for an energetic attack to affect you negatively and infiltrate you. Around humans, we all have, and animals and living creatures, we all have an auric field, okay? So that auric field is actually a flow of energy that moves through and around the body, through the meridians and the chakras, and it actually for some people, it can actually project meters out of you. Some people can see auric fields. There are people that you can go to that will assess the health of your auric field. And there are people that can see the colors and patterns and frequencies of you. All right. And yes, they're all linked to certain things, like different incarnations, different spiritual systems. It goes on and on and on. The flow of an auric field is the first thing that I assess in a person. Okay, so it does move clockwise. When someone is under a spiritual attack, quite often what will happen is their auric field will be very low, their mood will be very low, and their inner demons kind of get turned up in their head, because demons live in the realm of the mind. All right, so a very, very powerful magician can access you through the astral world. That's why when someone does spell work on a victim or a target, it's usually conducted while the target is in the astral world. The target is sleeping. That's why we usually do spell work on targets while they are vulnerable and they are asleep. And so what will happen, the auric field will be rotating anti-clockwise. It starts to reverse and gets basically sick. So the auric field of their protection around them starts to go backwards. Now, for real heavy duty curses, and this is how it usually works the best, and it can be the most dangerous, is someone is going to the level of effort, whether they're paid to do this, because yes, there are people, there are witches out there that will do this for cash, okay? You bring the target to them and they work their spiritual work on you remotely. And that's not something that just happens overnight. This is something that happens over a long period of time. Okay, so the first thing I want you to understand about the craft, about the real thing, is it's not like magical shit like Charmed or some shit. It's not Harry Potter. So it's a slow process. It's someone who is constantly burning a candle against you. It's someone that wants to make your auric field black and sick and really lower your auric field's protection around you. Then they go in and start laying down curses. Then they send a demon onto your ass. Then they start to fuck with you. Some people's auric fields are very, very strong. And some people have protection in the spiritual world from the other side. So when I say